here, I be on a paper chase. I'm all about my cheddar. I ain't touching the mic if it ain't 5Gs or better. I plan to never fall short. Again, I won't gain. Boy, I'ma tell you, no pain, no gain. I hustle hard for what I want, that's how I get it. I struggle hard, and if it's out there, I'm gon' get it. If you see CMR, a $sign on the CD, somewhere on there you'll see featuring the BG. Me and my nigga B, like Suge and Pop, we getting our shine on all the way to the top. Look, ain't no stopping us, boy, don't try. When you hear once, it ain't no secret you going by. You could lie about this, stunt about that. You can't dodge these 50 shots, I'm about the red tat-tat. Ain't nothing changed, still a buster wig splitter. Straight hustle for my cheese, I'm a money go get about my paper, my cheese. So before my eyes close, I want my greens to add up to 6 zeros. Get your betty nigga, somebody play a hate split 'em. Get your betty nigga, somebody play a hate kill 'em. I'm about my paper, my cheese. So before my eyes close, I want my greens to add up to 6 zeros. Get your betty nigga, somebody play a hate split 'em. Get your betty nigga, somebody play a hate kill 'em. It's all about Benjamin, that's all I wanna have. Ducked off in my house with a hoe taking a bubble bath. Sparkling marble, covering all my room floors. A maid in a bathing suit doing my house chores. Do not disturb sign on my bedroom door, cause my dick getting ate by my #1 whore. Look, I'm money hungry, about acting a donkey. No longer a junkie, I got rid of that monkey. I'm cheeky, I don't want you fucking with my shit. My neck and my knuckles covered with crushed out shit. Sparkling gold cover my motherfucking grill. Pockets filled with big head $100 bills. Fucking up this rap game with these wicked rap skills. And ain't far from making G's to making meals. I'm a trill BG, uptown hard hitter. On the real, my nigga, I'm a money go get about my paper, my cheese. So before my eyes close, I want my greens to add up to 6 zeros. Get your betty nigga, somebody play a hate split 'em. Get your betty nigga, somebody play a hate kill 'em. About my paper, my cheese. So before my eyes close, I want my greens to add up to 6 zeros. Get your betty nigga, somebody play a hate split 'em. Get your betty nigga, somebody try to stop you, kill 'em. Oh, I gotta get it, gotta grab it, gotta have it. Like snorting dope or snorting coke, it's a habit. I gotta see it, gotta feel it, quick to spin it. Shoot dice all day with my niggas trying to win it. I rap hustle, cause I'm a hustling ass nigga. Also a get told about busting some ass nigga. So you come play with me, about my cheese, you gotta go fool. In a casket, 6 BGs, selling tapes and CDs, like selling pick 3s. Rang up 1,000,000 sales, we didn't hit the lottery. I'm a Benjamin chaser, player hater eraser. Police have no case, cause I do murders without a trace. I'm almost at home, I didn't pass third base. I'm playing with 5 figures, but when I get 6, I'm straight. If I catch your bitch down bad, I'ma hit her. Paper chasing nigga, BG, a money go get about my paper, my cheese. So before my eyes close, I want my greens to add up to 6 zeros. Get your betty nigga, somebody play a hate split 'em. Get your betty nigga, somebody try to stop you, kill 'em. I'm about my paper, my cheese. So before my eyes close, I want my greens to add up to 6 zeros. Get your betty nigga, somebody play a hate split 'em. Get your betty nigga, somebody try to stop you, kill 'em. I'm about my betty nigga, I'm about my betty, by all means necessary. I'm about my betty nigga, I'm about my betty, by all means necessary. All about the Benjamin, it's all about the green, the motherfucking loot. BG, I get mine on, I get my grind on, I get my shine on, you get yours on. I'm trying to get mine, you trying to get yours. I'm stacking mine, you stacking yours.
We Japanese still. You getting cooked in front of your family? Like a Japanese meal. It's Yashup the Hibachi, and none of you niggas can stop me. But can't help but watch me. So look, bro, I had to go ahead and make this video before I go off to the JOB today, man. You got another Afrocentric with a death wish. This nigga inside there, man, he don't run out of pseudos, don't he? He promotes pseudos, Jabari. What's the nigga that used to have the side lock on his head, man? Yeah, and all these people, Brother Jonathan, and now he didn't change his name to something Smash Well or some shit, some crazy ass shit. And now we got this new guy, you know, since, you know, Politely with the jail. They got this new guy named Sekou, or Sekou, however you say this dude's name, from Liberia, allegedly. And he's pushing old, outdated, Afrocentric nonsense, John Henry Clark nonsense, Sheikh Anta Diop nonsense, Dr. Ben nonsense, and he's trying to Frankenstein that understanding and that ideology. And basically, the short form of this whole spiel we're about to watch from this guy is that oh, ancient Egyptians were all black and black is homogenous and all Africans are homogenous. That's basically the argument. And European scholars that don't agree with that are racist, and then black people that don't agree with that, they are weak. That's about what we're about to hear all fucking, all morning, bro. From this dude named Sekou or whatever, man. This dude is pseudo as hell. Ancient Egypt. So what if they were quote unquote black? So what if they were white? That doesn't tell you the ancestral composition of ancient Egyptians. Doesn't tell you the ancestral composition of any North African or any African for that matter. Just because someone's labeled under the continental title African does not denote homogeneity. How many times we got to go through videos pointing this out? It's always you Afrocentrics and Black Hebrew Israelites that are pushing racial purity. It's not the scientists that are doing it. It's not mainstream academia, which he tries to claim is doing it. It's you niggas that are doing that. You're pushing racial purist ideas and all Africans are the same. You guys are pushing. That's why I said years ago, if I'm going to debate one of you niggas, that's debate on all Africans the same, because y'all keep pushing and echoing sentiments of racial purity and homogeneity amongst Africans, and Africans are not homogeneous. You understand? Oh, these Europeans are trying to take over our culture. What do you mean our culture? Ancient Egypt was diverse. Sub-Saharan Africa is diverse, has the greatest diversity of any place else on the planet. But yet you guys keep pushing narratives. But here's the thing. Oh, you're going to try to say academia is racist, everybody else is racist. No, you're racist because you're pushing a racist ideology. Your whole idea of who's black and who's not black, that comes from 17th, 18th century racists. You were echoing that. John Henry Clark was echoing that. Dr. Ben was echoing that. Sheikh Anta Diop was echoing that. All you did was reverse the whole shit. They're saying the people that created society of white, we're going to say they were all black. Who cares what color they were, what morphology they had? These people are diverse. They come from different groups. And this guy actively attacks this idea and notion on the video that we're about to showcase. He actively attacks the idea of multi-ethnic or multicultural groups in Egypt. And I'm going to show you guys with source material like we always fucking do, that Egypt was multi-diverse and multi-ethnic, as we will say today. It did consist of different damn groups. Some groups coming from the Levantine region, some groups coming from the south, some groups coming from other areas in North Africa, some groups coming from Europeans. Because that's a dirty word to an Afrocentric. That's a dirty word to a Black Hebrew Israelite. Y'all all in the same pocket. Y'all use a bunch of goddamn fallacies to make your arguments. You build your house on sand, and then when the tide comes, it blows it away. Okay? This guy attempts to quote Christopher Arrett's work. Christopher Arrett made an error in his work. Okay? The claim that ancient Egyptians did not have any sub-Saharan African DNA is a misrepresentation of the actual scientific paper that was published. The actual scientific paper that was published on the genomes of ancient Egyptians has nothing in it that states, zero, that states that ancient Egyptians had 0% sub-Saharan African DNA. You understand? You goddamn right, I'm the son of Lucifer, the shining one. I'm here to enlighten. These niggas has got y'all in utter darkness with your damn racism. Humans are diverse, man. Egyptians are diverse, ancient or modern. And here's the thing that ticks me off the fucking most, bro. What ticks me off about these pseudo-ass SANETER agents, or whatever you want to call them, agents of disinformation and misinformation, is that you'll sit up here and kick this pro-African kick, but you're not really pro-African, because the minute someone looks Arab, quote unquote, in the modern sense, a lighter skin or white or European that's in the African continent, y'all want to dismiss them and call them invaders or babies of invaders and Turks and all this other crazy shit. Now it ain't about the African continental experience, because we got Africans on the continent right now that has ancestors that have been there for thousands of years, probably in Egypt too, right? That y'all just dismiss and disassociate with because you're stuck on skin color and pigmentation and gradation of skin color. That's your whole fucking kick. Your whole shit is based on how someone looks. That's why, oh, they were black, they were black, they were white, they were white. Who gives a fuck? Where these people come from? Where their ancestry come from? Where they ultimately derive from? What's the source of this population? That's the question that should be asked. Not skin probing motherfuckers 3, 4, 5,000 years ago. Because when we show you that 3,000 years ago, there were light-skinned people there. When we show you that there were dark-skinned people there, now you're at a quagmire. Now you're in a quagmire. Because it just blows up in your fucking face. But again, SANETER has always been a platform to promote all forms of pseudo. You got Black Hebrew Israelites over there, Afrocentrists over there, and everything in between, pushing their nonsense. And we're going on a decade and some change now of this happening. So we're going to review some things that were said in his video, and we're going to crush what he said in his video, because all of it's based off bullshit. All of it's based off racial ideology. But you want to call someone else racist. Nigga, you invoking racism. You speak the spirit of racism. You speak the lingua of racism. The minute you start trying to paint billions of people, and I do mean billions. Africa is a huge continent with a lot of people, as all being the same when they're diverse. A damn Dinka in Sudan is not the same as someone living in Burkina Faso or Europe, or we can go on and on and on. He even mentioned the Khoisan. The Khoisan are not the same as a Fulani. There are differences amongst African populations. Okay? You guys are ridiculous. Very ridiculous. Lance says it's impossible to determine where people come from. There has always been migration due to weather phenomena. Yes. DNA only tests where someone is. Yes. Yes, but here's the thing. We have ancient DNA to compare from. So if I find a burial that matches the DNA of someone that lived in the Balkans, then it's reasonable to say, well, this DNA dates 4, 5, 6,000 years ago. It's a old clade. The people that have it today have more modern clades of it, like the people that speak the Chadic language in the Chad region and in the Chad Basin. Then the reasonable conclusion is they descend from those people that came from the Balkans. Anything else will just be illogical. That would just be you making shit up. Their DNA matches skeletal remains that we have dug up from the earth and exhumed and sequenced their genetic data, and it matches those people. Then therefore, those are the Pappies. That's the source population. That's how we can all say emphatically that the people in Chad with RV88 are definitely Europeans, ancient Europeans that came here some time ago, possibly during the Holocene, during the last Green Sahara. Okay? I mean, this shit is very simple. I didn't have to skin probe nobody. I had to say, oh, they're black, so they had to be in sub-Saharan Africa since the dawn of fucking time. That's not how shit works. That's you guys implementing and invoking old pseudo-racist arguments. That's an old pseudo-ass racist argument, but you're claiming that, no, I'm pointing out the Europeans' racism. No, you're fucking racist. Africa does not equal one thing. Africa is not racially pure. Africa is not homogenous. I got to keep harping on this on every fucking episode because that's what you guys live, breathe, eating shit. Especially you motherfuckers that's on SANETER. Misrepresent sources. Don't know what the fuck you're talking about when it comes to demography and where people originally come from, especially the biological composition. Anyone going against the fact that any place in Africa has diversity is a fucking moron. It's 2024. You do need to update your science. John Henry Clark was a pseudo. Dr. Ben pseudo. James Small, he's living right now. He's still a fucking pseudo. Nfudishi, pseudo motherfuckers. Sheikh Anta Diop, pseudo. Just because you see darker populations and mentioning a passage here and there does not automatically necessitate the same people. And I don't know how many times I got to bring this up on this live. How many lives we got to do this? We got to brought this up to ad nauseum at this point. The entire planet was inundated with darker, more robust people in times past. The entire fucking planet. From Northern Europe, Southern Europe, to the Americas, to Asia, Pacific Islanders, Australians, the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, everywhere was inundated by darker skinned people. So just saying someone's black is not telling you any goddamn thing. Now, is it? It's not informative. So what? They're darker skin. That does not give you any ancestral inclination. Anyway. Yeah, I just brought that up. I just brought it, Lance. That's exactly what I just brought up. Many people migrated back to Africa when the water subsided in the Sahara, but there were black-skinned people in the Caucasus. Exactly. And guess what? Those darker-skinned people produce descendants that are lighter than them. Because y'all think, oh, if someone was black in the past, they got to be black now. Their descendants got to all be black. No, that's not how human variability works. That's not how the act of meiosis works. When you have sex with a woman and you impregnate her, you do not make clones. Your genes mix and shift and convert and create an offspring. And during this mixing process, new variation can be created. Hell, look at dog breeds. Within the last 100 years, we have successfully created multiple dog breeds, a fucking miniature damn schnauzer and all them shits. That's the power of genes. That's the power of gene conversion. That's the power of meiosis, because we don't make clones when we have sex and impregnate women. It's a process of mixing of genes. You should have learned this shit in middle school. That's when you should have fucking learned this shit. There's no fucking way that you're in your fucking 40s and 50s and don't know this shit. It's just infuriating, man. It's very fucking infuriating. It's very fucking sad that you got people still thinking like it's the 18th, 19th century and it's 2024. Motherfucking Tesla making robots now. And you still thinking like that. Echoing sentiments from these motherfuckers from the 70s and shit. Garbage. Detestable, deplorable. You guys make me sick with this bullshit. Like, we got too much information out here. And like I said before in prior shows, the phones got smarter and the niggas got dumber. We're gonna get into this damn pseudo, man. Sekou. However you say his damn name. We'll call him Seppuku, because you know, niggas be committing Japanese ritual suicide in this bitch. Watch this. Fair use. Fair use. Using this for criticism, commenting, giving our thoughts and opinions. So we're well within our right under Section 107 of the Copyright Act to go over this material. So I want to start around here.
With them, he did. This is where Diop did what they call direct knowledge. He went on the field and did research. He even did a carbon dating of the Sahara, and he showed that from 8,000 BC, the Sahara was still wet. It was still a grassland. It was still a savanna. And there was no such a thing, the impassable barrier for African people. The Nile Valley was a highway of culture of African people coming from deep south down all the way to the north. So to say that there are...
Yes, the Green Sahara was a huge ass corridor, but what you're failing to understand that it was not just a corridor that facilitated people from the south to the north. It was a corridor that facilitated all directional traffic, whether it came from Europe. We know we had Eurasians come down into sub-Saharan Africa. They left their genetic imprint, but we can tell that females from Eurasia made their way down into sub-Saharan Africa, as well as males. The living people today have those damn markers that are specific to the region that they live in. Mitochondrial DNA, which they can only get from a damn female. Y chromosome DNA, which they can only get from males. That's what he's failing to realize. And again, many of these people that are descendants of the Green Saharan population, you guys call them invaders, you fucking hypocrites. Berbers, North Africans, many modern Egyptians would have been part of this Green Saharan population. And you guys dismiss them on the basis of skin gradation and skin color. Racial ideology from racist pricks of the past. So you're speaking just like them, but you don't want to be identified as them. Make it make sense, man.
A group of people, African, called sub-Saharan, who are disconnected from the west of Africa, from North Africa, since the time of the early human, does not make any sense. But this argument continues to prevail, even today among the African communities. Another argument they say, well, if you insist, then we are going to say the ancient Egyptians were multicultural, they were Afro-Asiatic, or they were mixed. Now, this other argument, it came out of the Cairo Symposium as well. And it was one of the participants, I think from Norway, who made this argument. That look, we can make a compromise, okay? You guys say they were dark skinned, they were black. We can clearly see from the iconography, they look dark, they look black, their hair, we see everything. Okay, let's call them multicultural. They were mixed, they were Afro-Asiatic. Does that settle it? We say, well, that is another way to change the goalpost.
No, that's actually the facts there. Multi-ethnic is the word that should be used there to understand the modern setting. Multi-ethnic. Ancient Egyptians were multi-ethnic, and they were Afro-Asiatic. They spoke an Afro-Asiatic language, Afro-Asiatic phylum. The ancient Egyptian language is classified under Afro-Asiatic. And you mentioned Christopher Ehret later on in this video, you should fucking know that. And they are, quote unquote, mixed. Mixed in the modern sense of having darker skinned people and lighter skinned people living in the same damn country. What's the issue with this? I'm going to tell you why he takes issue with this approach. Because again, just like the racists of the past, 18th, 19th century, see, he's using Blumenbach and Linehan fucking understanding right here. You have an issue with diversity. You have an issue with admitting diversity. You have an issue with miscegenation. You have an issue with populations being diverse because you don't want ancient to be diverse. They got to be all whatever you fuck you want to say it is. Oh, it's all black, it's all African, all this. That. No, that's not any part. That's not true for any fucking population. Even when you get deep in the South, you mentioned Sudan. These people are mixed. That they all black. Who gives a fuck how they look? You probably mixed. We don't know what the fuck you are. Your damn ancestry can go back to East Europe some damn way. Who cares how you look? I don't give a damn about your nasal index, the shape of your fucking skull, or any other form of your morphology. None of that matters when we're talking about ancestral connections and where these people ultimately come from and what population they derive from. You know what I mean? Sudanese people walk around here having haplogroup J1, descended from people that ultimately come from the Caucasus mountain range. They blue-black. Who gives a fuck? We really got to go back to the basics with you motherfuckers, man. What happens during reproduction? What happens during the act of sex and conception? Because you obviously don't fucking know. You can have Africans, people that derive and their markers originate in the continent of Africa. This is not anything mythical, anything like that. That's all it means. Biogeographical ancestry. People most likely derived in the continent of Africa. Same thing with Europeans. If we say they had a European marker, their marker most likely derived in the continent of Europe. That's all that's being said there. There's nothing mythical about that. Right? You guys can lose your shit when this is brought up. You can have a group of Africans that move and migrate to another area and mix with the locals and look like the fucking locals, and vice versa. You can have a group of Eurasians. You can have a group of Caucasians. You can have a group of whatever group that move and migrate to a region, mix with the locals, and produce descendants that look like everyone else within that vicinity or proximity. You brought up East Africa. East Africa is a great example of this. The Sudanese are a great example of this. Many Sudanese are walking around the descendants of European or Eurasian males and females. Their skin color, their morphology does not tell us this. It's the genetic code, because we can see where they got their Y chromosomes from and their mtDNAs from. What population that ultimately derives from. We don't need none of your voodoo skin magic. Going around skin probing motherfuckers trying to determine who's who by their fucking skin color. This ain't the fucking 18th, 19th goddamn century. Catch up. Fucking catch up already, goddammit.
And this is what most of the mainstream today, they are holding on to. They are holding on to this. They were multicultural, they were Afro-Asiatic, but they didn't just pop up and become multicultural overnight. They were unhomogeneous people in the beginning. They didn't just come from...
No, Egyptians were not homogeneous. They were not. They were not all the same. You see, that's what I'm saying. You let a fool talk long enough, you're going to reveal itself. Egyptians were not homogeneous people. They did not all derive from the same ancestry. Ancient Egyptians are a mixture of people, just like most populations are. They're a medley. They're a composite of different components, different ancestries coming together. Okay? Just like when we look at Nigeria, Nigerians are not homogenous. The biggest fucking ethnic group in Nigeria shows you how diverse Nigerians are within the Hausa, because they got RV88 on the female side. They got R0. Okay, that's showing you that they are a product of different groups coming together and mixing and assimilating one amongst another. Same thing in ancient Egypt. All these Eurasian markers that you find in ancient Egypt, and even today, I can show you an example of that real quick. But this goofy ass nigga, man, y'all niggas is super goofy, bro. Super goofy, man, and no filter on y'all shit. Y'all just, oh my god, man. So I'm gonna show y'all this, bro. This is my handy dandy Facebook. So, all available North, Northeast, and East African data. 641 total samples. As y'all can see right here, this is ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt, and basing this off 28 samples. This is mitochondrial DNA, mitochondrial H. That's associated with Eurasian European people. Mitochondrial J, these are Eurasian European women. Mitochondrial K, Eurasian European women in ancient Egypt. Mitochondrial M, Middle Eastern. R, Eurasian European. T, same thing. U, same thing. WX, same thing. Now that look like a diverse population to me, because if it wasn't, you would see one goddamn clade. We don't see one fucking clade. We see a multitude of clades. Now, when we go to modern Egyptians, this is what we see. As you can see, Egypt numbering 297. We see H, European in a high clip. We see I, we see J, all these European clades. We see L0, that's African, L1, L2, African, L3, L4, L5, and L6 in modern Egyptians. And y'all look at these people, they're invaded. They got African goddamn haplotypes. What the hell wrong with you? M and N, R, T, N, U, V, W, N, X. This is a diverse population. Diverse. There's different groups of female ancestries here. It's not all the fucking same. You fucking morons. Ancient Morocco, J and K, baby. Eurasian. T, U, and X. Eurasian. Sudanese, they got H there. Eurasian. J, Eurasian, K, Eurasian. These are Eurasian women. Then you got your African women here with all the L markers presented. M and R and T, more Eurasians. These are diverse people. These are different female lineages, all within the same population, aggregated together. They are a composite. They are mentally, they're not homogenous. Ancient and modern women of Northeast Africa, Egypt, Tunisia, and Sudan, a medley of African and Eurasian women. Let's go back.
Under the ground and become Afro-Asiatic, we have to establish the point at which they got in contact with the other people from Asia. We have to establish at what point they began to be mixed. You can't just say they popped out of the ground and they were just multicultural and mixed. That's not how it's going to work. This is another argument that is now used by the recent Egyptologists. This is the point in which they have moved from the Negro part, they've moved from the Sub-Saharan part, they came down to the mix. Then another argument, they said the Nubians were darker than the Egyptians, therefore they were not supposed to be black. So Sheikh Anta Diop, during the conference, he's like,
so from here, I want to go, I think 48-minute marker, I want to address something he said here.
Theory that ancient Egyptians came from the south to populate that place, and that the Nubian, that they were of Nubian stock, has remained unchallenged. No one has been able to destroy or discard that theory. Those who play around it, if they are black people, they are just coward. If they are European, they are just being racist. I didn't say that. It was Christopher Ehret, and we shall see. The costool. Olivier, if you read Sheikh Dio book, he talk about the findings of the costool by Bruce Williams. This is an important artifact, an incense burner that was found in Nubia. And on this incense burner, Jabari discussed this several times on this channel, that you find on this incense burner all the motifs, all the cultural motifs that will later be seen in ancient Egypt. The crown, the falcon as Heru, and all of these things that we will see later in ancient Egypt as important emblems in their culture. These emblems were already found on this incense burner deep south into Nubia, from a culture called the Kustu, which has already existed, where they have already practiced these things. So this culture gave birth to what you call pharaonic Egypt, and it did not come from the north. Here's what Christopher Harris says about this finding in 2023. This is recent, because you guys that are against this theory of Diop, you say, oh, the Diop scholars, they are outdated. You know, the time they argued 1974, there was no genetics. Their time has passed on. There is new evidence. Well, I'm reading the new evidence now. I'm reading the 2023 book now. The coastal elite, rulers in the second half of the fourth millennium, participated together with their counterpart of communities of Nagada culture of southern Egypt in creating an emerging culture and paraphernalia of pharaonic rule. The finds from coastal site include, in Williams' work, images associated with a rising Egyptian dynastic culture.
All right, so now I'm going to smack this nigga up again. Yes, you do have elements of ancient Egypt coming from the south. Why disregard that? What you're trying to disregard is elements coming from outside of Egypt. I'm going to show this real quick. He's in the Nakata period, right? That's pre-dynastic, right? Check this out. I read this before. I don't know how many times I got to keep bringing this shit up. This is the Oxford Handbook of the Archaeology of the Levant, circa 8,332 BC. Let me take my annotations out so I can get a bigger screen. 92 to 90, page 92 to 93. It says the intensity and nature of Egypto-Levantine relations have varied through time, encompassing overland and maritime commerce, diplomacy, alliances, immigration. What does it mean to immigrate? To move, to migrate into, right? Imperialism and deportation. What does it mean to deport? People being taken away from their lands. Such cross-cultural relations incorporate varying importations, and local adaptations by each host culture, including architecture, art, material culture, language, literature, and religion. So what is this telling you? That this is a bi-directional corridor. I mean, it's right there. Egypt and the Levant is right there. They're connected to each other. This should be fucking like what Chief X said, which we spanked that nigga so bad that he took that video down. But anyway, this should be quote unquote common sense according to y'all. Y'all love using that word. Such cross-cultural relations incorporate varying interpretations and local adaptations by each host culture, including architecture, art, material culture, language, literature, and religion. In times of Egyptian strength and imperialism, such as the New Kingdom, early site period, and quite possibly the proto-dynastic to early dynastic period, there's often greater occurrence of Egyptian-style construction, monuments, diverse artifacts, transitory through permanent migrants, and other influence in the Levant. During such periods, trade still forms a major mechanism for transmitting Egyptian items and inspiring local regional imitations, while Egyptian garrisons, transitory troops, emissaries, other personnel, and Egyptianized Canaanites also play a substantial role in dispersing Egyptian materials and influence. During other periods of Egyptian prosperity, such as the Old and Middle Kingdoms, Egypt relaxes its interactions with Palestine, attacking it periodically and sometimes sharing greater maritime commerce with Syria. During low points in Egyptian political stability, such as the intermediate periods, Egyptian exports and local regional copies of Egyptian forms, motifs, and concepts generally decline, with commerce often reflecting the main means of transferring Egyptian-style items and influence. On the other hand, the Hyksos domination in Egypt's eastern delta introduces more Levantine influences into Egypt. The Hyksos, however, also adopt aspects of Egyptian culture and relay Egyptian-style materials, products, and motifs abroad. For example, Hyksos scarabs. Other invaders, such as the Assyrians through the Persian empires, plundered Egypt or of architectural elements. For example, the obelisk, statuary artifacts, and people. Most of these things are transported through the Levant and into the Mesopotamian heartland, while Phoenicia becomes an indirect imitator and exporter of Egyptian-style products throughout the Levant and Mediterranean. So we're going to deal with a period known as the pre-dynastic period now. The Chalcolithic, which is the Copper Age, to Early Bronze Age 1. Egyptian imports first appear in Palestine during the Chalcolithic period, including a Nakata 1 style calcite jar at Ghasal. North Sinai produced Ghasal Beersheba pottery and Egyptian red polished pottery and pallets, attesting to overland traffic between Palestine and Egypt. Now, this is pre-dynastic stuff that we're reading right here. Overland traffic. Mighty near the apex of Egypt's delta exhibits Levantine-style subterranean dwellings, many donkey bones, i.e. pack animals, and copper ores, ingots, and artifacts from Beersheba region in Wadi Fanan. Maritime contact with Lebanon and Afghanistan. I want y'all to hear this. Maritime contact with Lebanon and Afghanistan is also demonstrated by the presence of cedar, pine, cypress, juniper wood, and lapis lazuli in pre-dynastic Egypt. This is very obvious that there are people going back and forth between these two regions known as the Levant and what we call Egypt today. Very obvious. Shit that's coming from Afghanistan is there. It's very obvious that there are Eurasians in ancient Egypt, which negates everything this dude is saying, man.
The culture of the pharaohs will come from the south, deep south, artifact upon artifact, giving us the evidence. Those who come from the south, who are of Nubian stock, who come from the Horn of Africa, what were they? Chinese? I guess not. They were black Africans. Now the falsification of history. Even as we overwhelming evidence from the Diopian school that have destroyed the Egyptology.
All right, so the next and my final point is going to be his segment over what he calls what do you call it? DNA. How do you bring it up? DNA heist. Get around here.
Where is the African personality on this wall?
Look at
You
that.
can see how they put it very closely to a Greco-Roman character standing right beside the picture. This is what is happening even after Cairo Symposium. This is what Christopher had. Now the DNA hist. That's another argument that is up. They say, well, Sekou, you understand, Sekou likes to read old books. He likes to read Diop. He likes to read Chancellor Williams. He likes to read John Henry Clark. He likes to read Dr. Ben. These books are old, Sekou. You like to read books like, what is it called now? They Stolen Legacy by George G.M. James. They say, Sekou, you see, you are reading old books. Let's follow the new evidence. Diop is 1974. George G.M. James' books is written in the 50s. Why can't you look for the new evidence? Now there's DNA that showed that the ancient Egyptians were not black. I said, well, are you sure? That's what the DNA says. They say, yeah. This is what a modern scholar is saying. Christopher Herrett again. I'm quoting him, what he said about that DNA test. That all of you, how the people like Chief X and his DNA, I call it the DNA heist. Let's see what Christopher says about this. He said the assertion in a recent such article, for example, that there is no sub-Saharan component in the Egyptian population betrays an unexamined assumption that traces back to racist early 20th century scholarship, that there was something like a true Negro type, and that this pure type was represented by certain coastal West African population, but the North Africa, of course. But he said the Horn of Africa, of course, is also entirely south of the Sahara. So the assertion that there is no sub-Saharan genetic component in Egypt is nonsense. I repeat it again.
All right, I gotta correct this. And Aaron, you are wrong. What you published in your book is completely misrepresenting what the actual article that you're referencing, right? Well, the scientific paper, because you could be, anybody can write a goddamn article. The scientific paper that most people are referencing is that 2017 paper by Schumann et al. Right? And within that paper, as we went over 1,000 damn times already on the channel, it does not say that ancient Egyptians did not have a sub-Saharan genetic component. It does not fucking say that. And before we even get to that point, because this is going to be my last point in this video, and then we're going to go into some DNA papers. Before we get to that point, I want to pull up Christopher Herrett's book and read something that he left out, and I know why he left out, because he's a racist and he wants to invoke racist arguments and racial purist arguments, right? So we're going to stop that. We're going to close that. We're going to share our screen. We're going to share our handy-dandy notebook. No, not this. I don't want to share this. I want to share my Kindle. Share our Kindle. Okay, this is what he was reading from, page 168, considerations for historians reading genetic studies. Again, this is Ancient Africa, Global History to 300 CE by Christopher Herret. And Christopher Herret is not a geneticist. Christopher Herret, I believe, is a linguist. Anyway, this is what it reads. This part he left out, and I got highlighted here. Despite the general view among biologists these days that the concept of race does not apply in explaining human variation, why did you not read this, Sekou? Why you didn't read that first part? Why? Because your whole sticks, your whole fucking existence, your whole argument is based on the concept of race. There are black people there, so they gotta be us. They're homogenous, they all the same. The first damn sentence, Christopher Herret at least acknowledges that in the field of science, the geneticists will tell you that the concept of race does not apply, but you want to make it apply. You want to make it applicable. It says historians need to be aware that racialist thinking can still linger unacknowledged even in the works of geneticists. So now he's about to make this damn claim that is not substantiated. Here's the claim. This is the problem I have with Christopher Herret. He goes on to say the assertion in a recent such article, for example, that there is no sub-Saharan component in the Egyptian population betrays an unexamined assumption that traces back to racist early 20th century scholarship. You would have a point if the actual scientific published article said this. Christopher Herret, the paper does not say that. And then he goes on to say that there was something like a true Negro type and that this pure type was represented by certain coastal West African populations. Sekou believes in this, by the way. Even though he read this, he believes this. He believes that all of Africa is this true Negro type. Black. They're not going to confuse me as a Chinese. I'm black. Everybody in Africa black. It says here, the adjective sub-Saharan itself itself the particular historically loaded term used repeatedly in earlier literature to convey that kind of racialist belief and attitude, and thus a terminology very much to be avoided. But the Horn of Africa, of course, is also entirely south of the Sahara, and it is noted, as is noted in Chapter 5, scholars have already identified a genetic marker of a significant population component moving north from that region, spreading not just into Egypt, but beyond there to the Levant, where early Semitic was spoken. Why he didn't read this part? Why he conveniently left this part out, that in Christopher Eric's book, he talks about a component coming from south all the way to north through Egypt to the Levant. Why he didn't read this part? Which makes a lot of sense. We just read that material culture went both ways from Egypt to the Levant. It says, but beyond there, and the argument that he's talking about is like Somali, but basically Afro-Asiatic. That's various arguments for the birth of Afro-Asiatic language groups. One of the arguments is that it was North Africa, East Africa, and the Levant. And if you go to the chapter, he's going to show and argue for it coming from East Africa and making its way up. So that's what he's referencing here. That's why he's bringing up Semitic, because Semitic is ultimately a derivative of Afro-Asiatic languages. So he's saying, hey, there had to been a African population to transplant this language to the Levant. That's what his argument is here. But why he didn't mention this? Because he don't want to mention Africans traveling outside of Africa. Because y'all think that just like, oh, you got to be within the sands of Egypt ideology, these people got to be retained in the continent of Africa, which is not true at all. It's so fucking dumb. It says here, but beyond there to the Levant, where early Semitic was spoken, and across North Africa and the Sahara among the Amazigh speakers. So the assertion that there is no sub-Saharan component in Egypt is nonsense. He left the rest of this shit out, especially the Amazigh, because a lot of Amazigh look white. Why would he bring up the Amazigh? Why would he quote the part about the Amazigh? They look white. They look Europoid, Eurasian, lighter skin, lighter eye types, finer hair. So he's not going to bring them up because his racist ass mindset won't allow him to. But the issue that I have here is this part, the no sub-Saharan genetic component. This is not true. The paper never says this. So from there, I want to actually read from what he was quoting from so you guys can see, even within that paper, even though there's an error, it's erroneous, he didn't even pull out the necessary parts so you can get the full thought of what Eric was trying to say. Now it's time to put belt to ass on Eric, because I've heard this same lie 1,000 goddamn times. So when we actually go to this damn paper, type in sub-Saharan, so we get straight to it. This is what the paper actually says, right? Let me pull it up. It does not say they didn't have any sub-Saharan components. That's not what the paper is saying. It is the abstract, which is a summation of the paper. Egypt, located on the Isthmus of Africa, is an ideal region to study historical population dynamics due to its geographic location, documented interactions with ancient civilizations in Africa, Asia, and Europe. You see that? That will be a medley of populations, right? A medley. Particularly the first millennium BCE Egypt endured foreign domination, leading to growing numbers of foreigners living within its borders, possibly contributing genetically to the local population. Here we present 90 mitochondrial genomes as well as genome-wide data sets from 3 individuals obtained from Egyptian mummies. The samples recovered from Middle Egypt span around 1,300 years of ancient Egyptian history from the New Kingdom to the Roman period. Our analysis revealed that ancient Egyptians shared more ancestry with Near Easterners than present-day Egyptians. All right, this is what the paper says. Ancient Egyptians shared more ancestry with Near Easterners, which makes a lot of sense when you look at lapis lazuli coming from Afghanistan, all of the cultural things coming from the Levant and the exchange coming from the Levant. the burials. It obviously has a Near Eastern flavor. Trying to ignore that is just being pseudo. It says here who received additional sub-Saharan admixture in more recent times. The paper never said anything about them not having sub-Saharan DNA. It says that they got additional sub-Saharan admixture in recent times. And this is based over 90 mitochondrial genomes in the 3 Egyptian mummy samples. That's what they're discussing. Nowhere in this paper does it state that these samples did not have sub-Saharan African ancestry. Nowhere. That's just a bullshit ass lie that people like Christopher Aaron and other people that echo throughout the internet. Here it is again. By directly studying ancient DNA from ancient Egyptians, we can test previous hypotheses drawn from analysis of modern Egyptian DNA, such as recent admixture from populations with sub-Saharan and non-African ancestries, attributed to trans-Saharan slave trade and Islamic expansion, respectfully. All right, let's read the next one. Genetic continuity between ancient and modern Egyptians cannot be ruled out by formal tests despite this sub-Saharan African influx, while continuity with modern Egyptians who carry less than 60% African L lineages is not supported. Again, nowhere in this paper does it say there is no sub-Saharan component. Nowhere. Let's keep going. Again, it says, in contrast, a substantially larger sub-Saharan African component found primarily in West Africa and Yoruba is seen in modern Egyptians compared to ancient samples. Again, it does not say they did not have it. Let's keep going. Finally, we use 2 methods to estimate the fraction of sub-Saharan African ancestry in ancient and modern Egyptians. Now watch this. Both QP atom and F4 ratio tests reveal that modern Egyptians inherit 8% more ancestry from African ancestors than the 3 ancient Egyptians do. Again, this is not saying what Christopher Eric said it was saying. It's not saying they didn't have any sub-Saharan African DNA. It's just saying compared to the samples they have versus modern Egyptians have more sub-Saharan African DNA than ancient ones do. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. We don't have to add no more sazon on this. It's enough season on here that we can all eat. It says here, it revealed that modern Egyptians inherit 8% more ancestry from African ancestors than the 3 ancient Egyptians do, which is also consistent with the admixture results discussed above. Absolute estimates of African ancestry using 2 methods and the 3 ancient individuals range from 6 to 15%. So the 3 ancient mummies had 6 to 15% sub-Saharan African DNA. This is what the paper says. It never said they did not have it. It never said that shit, but you got 1,000 motherfuckers going around the internet trying to say it does. And it's usually fucking racist ass men of population, racist ass online skinheads and Nazis, and you fucking Afrocentrics. 2 sides of the same goddamn coin, because no one's actually vetting information. No one's actually doing the research. No one's actually reading this shit. You just go online, go on these platforms like SANETER, which has been a surveyor of pseudoism since its conception, and just watching shit and then going with it and regurgitating it. The paper itself, and I'm going to read it again, the 3 ancient individuals range from 6 to 15%. Sub-Saharan African ancestry, dumbasses, dickheads. And Eric, you a dickhead for that, because you should know fucking better. The paper never made that goddamn claim. Again, the claim that the paper is making is saying, hey, from the genomes that we got from the 3 mummies versus the modern population of ancient Egypt, there was an 8% on average gain of sub-Saharan African DNA. Never said anything about it not existing at all in fucking ancient Egypt. The paper never fucking said that. I'm going to read it again. Absolute estimates of African ancestry using these two methods in the three ancient individuals range from 6 to 15%, and in the modern samples from 14 to 21%, depending on the method and choice of reference populations. Now, if you add 8 to 6, what do you get? What do you get? You get 14, right? If you have 15 to 21 is 6%. But again, the 6 to 14% is the 8%, 15 to 21%. The paper saying the same thing. It's not saying that they didn't have any sub-Saharan African ancestry. It's saying there was an increase over time. And if you want to get even more technical, when you go to the supplementary, let me go down with that. For you goofy goobers out there, I know there's a lot of you goofy motherfuckers, man. Okay. It talks about slave trade being pretty much the impetus for the increase of sub-Saharan ancestry. But I want to go to the supplemental. Let me hard search. Supplementary. I want the whole thing, the whole shebang, man. Supplementary information. And if we go to this PDF here, let's download it. Let's view this tab. Can y'all see that? Yeah, y'all can. All right. We're going to increase this. Tied it down. Go read. Go fucking actually go back and read the damn source before you start running your damn lips, man. Bump your damn gums, man. These were the three mummies, by the way. Haplogroup J, which ultimately comes from the Caucasus, was found in ancient Egypt. E1B1B, of course, and then J, another J sample. Those are the three mummies that they're comparing here. And when we get to the part where it talks about the sub-Saharan DNA, right here, it says the African admixture proportions in present day and ancient Egyptians are estimated in model-based clustering by admixture, and successful models will increase the number of ancestral populations. In this section, we confirm these estimates using a simpler F4 ratio approach applied to the proposed graph below. We use different West Eurasian populations to act as proxies for non-African sources. We observed an increase of Yoruba-related African ancestry in present-day Egyptians compared with our ancient samples. Present-day Egyptians are suggested to have about 14 to 21% African ancestry, while the proportions in ancient Egyptians are only 6 to 15%, as also depicted in supplementary table 6. Again, recapitulating what we already read. They never made the claim they didn't have it. They do have it at 6 to 15%. They're just saying it was an increase over time, and most likely the impetus of this increase was the modern slave trade. But it even says something even more interesting here. Let me go down here. Dating the gene flow from Africans and present-day Egyptians. In this section, we estimated time and lower bounds on admixture proportions of observed African ancestry using linkage disequilibrium LD-based admixture inference implemented in ALDER. We computed weighted LD curves with present-day Egyptians as the test population and Yoruba and French as the references. As French may be a close surrogate for all diverse populations of West Eurasia that might contribute to Egyptians, we also took advantage of the one reference inference capabilities of ALDER to only use the Yoruba as a reference. It says here, the average admixture time for present-day Egyptians is 24 generations ago, which is about 700 years ago, assuming 29 years of generation. So this is why I say most of this new sub-Saharan DNA that modern Egyptians have come from the trans-Saharan slave trade, right? Because of this number here. So that will be within the time frame. You're going into the medieval ages there. It says, as further illustrated in supplementary table 8, we estimated mixture fractions of at least 6.8% Yoruba-related ancestry for those present-day Egyptians. Changing the starting point of the LD fit does not qualitatively affect the results. Now watch what it says here. We caution that the date estimates might not reflect the initial African admixture in present-day Egyptians. Instead, it is an average date of population mixture. If the admixture did not happen immediately when two populations met or occurred many times over an extended period, the true start of mixture would be more ancient. That's what the paper actually says. But if you get off your ass and stop being fucking lazy and actually go read this shit, you wouldn't make these fucking mistakes now, would you? The paper never made the claim that they didn't have any goddamn sub-Saharan African DNA. It never said that. It's you racist ass Afrocentric niggas online pushing that. You racist ass skinheads online pushing that. And you racist ass MENA populations pushing that garbage. I actually went to the fucking paper and showed your ass that that's not what it fucking said. And watch you niggas right after seeing this go back to saying the same damn thing. Because you got the identitarians and doctrinaires. It's not about the information and evidence. It's about your ideology. Now, to address a few more things. Again, y'all want to bring up the Green Sahara. I'll bring up and be honest about it. All right, so we're going to go to the last echoes of the Green Sahara here. You guys should be able to see this. All right. And I'm going to start here. The Sahara has played and still plays an important role in the population history of the African continent. Why am I bringing this up? Because, again, it shows that ancient Egypt was diverse. And we just read that ancient Egyptians had European components and sub-Saharan components. That's diversity, right? All right. So it says currently it acts as a strong geographic barrier because of its arid environment. However, during its humid phases, called Green Sahara, it became fertile and a lush land inhabited by different species, including humans. The last of these fertile periods occurred approximately between 12,000 and 5,000 BP during the Holocene climactic optimum. So this is before the dynastic periods of Egypt, before all that shit, right? It says, and the archaeological findings from that time are characterized by different material cultures. That sounds like diversity. Testifying the rich diversity of the populations in that region. You can't run away from diversity, man. Africa is diverse. Egypt's diverse. North Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, diversity. East Africa, Horn of Africa, diversity there, bro. You racial purists are finished, man. You're done. Your age is over. Your age ended in the 19th and 20th century, man. We got cars that can drive themselves now, nigga. Tesla building robots. We don't need you niggas no more. You goofy ass niggas, man. It says here, indeed, the fertile environment of the Sahara with extensive hydrogeological networks connecting rivers and lakes may have promoted extensive contacts between the different groups settled in this area. The last Green Sahara was also characterized by social and cultural changes such as the spreading of pastoralism and farming. Both developed locally or arrived from the Middle East to northeastern Africa between 7,000 and 6,000 years ago. Let me read that again. The spreading of pastoralism and farming both developed locally or arrived from the Middle East to northeastern Africa between 7,000 to 6,000 years ago. This is why you have early farmers in Egypt having wheat and barley. Where the fuck does wheat and barley originate from? The Middle East, the Levant. And crop cultivation, you have to have people that knows about the crop, that's from the area of the crop, to understand how to cultivate the damn crop. So once you see that crop cultivation move, that's usually facilitated by the people that know how to grow it. Real quick, let me go from here to my handy dandy Facebook. I'm using my Facebook group as a storage device so I can easily go to sources. So this is from Chapter 8, Ancient DNA Studies in African Population History by Brill. And within this paper, it says here, the origins of food-producing practices in Africa are still unclear, but it's believed that crop cultivation will develop independently in at least 3 regions in Africa. The Sahara/Sahel around 7,000 years ago, the Ethiopian highlands around 7,000 to 4,000 years ago, and Western Africa 5,000 to 3,000 years ago. The Nile River Valley is thought to have adopted agriculture 7,000 to 8,000 years ago from the Neolithic transition in the Middle East. approximately 10 to 11,000 years ago. That's diversity for your ass. That's what that is. These people are diverse. But you're against diversity because you want to push your racist, purist garbage. You're Blumenbach garbage. They were black. Who gives a fuck if they were black? They don't tell you the whole story, you fucking incel. Anyway, y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here. Let's go back to the echoes of Green Sahara paper. It says here, the spreading of pastoralism and farming both developed locally or arrived from the Middle East to northeastern Africa between 7,000 and 6,000 years ago. In this scenario, the formation of the non-sub-Saharan component in Fulani should be interpreted as a simple admixture event between a West African source group and a Northern African one. On the contrary, we should consider that many different groups inhabit the Saharan area at that time, and the favorable climatic conditions could have allowed a relatively continuous gene flow between them. As also suggested, the presence of West African ancestry component of Ibero-Mauritians, in addition to the main northeast to northwest to northeast routes. What do we have here? What is this showing us? You got Anatolia, Levant, in northeast Africa. As you can see, that blue component coming from the Near East, coming from the Middle East. Look at Egypt. Half of its ancient components are coming from the Levant, the Middle East, the Near East, which Egypt is a Near Eastern country too. It's considered a Near Eastern country. He brought up the Green Sahara, the ancient Green Sahara. Look at all those arrows being facilitated with North Africans and Near Easterners. And as you can see, after the Green Sahara began to dry, the desiccation of the Green Sahara, all the population spread out in all directions. This is why you have sub-Saharan Africans that are diverse and have different male and female groups amongst them, like RV88, EM78, AM13. AM13 is known to be in East Africa, but why do we see it in West Africa? Because they were all together at one point in what we know as the Green Sahara. You had Eurasians and you had sub-Saharan Africans together. Look at these components, man. Look at these arrows, these migration vectors. You had people coming in from the Near East, spreading pastoralism and farming. We know this happened because we see wheat, the cultivation of wheat and barley in Egypt. We see goats and sheep. Where do goats and sheep come from? Where do they originate from? The Levant. Well, y'all better stop playing with me, man. Start slapping niggas. That's what I'm gonna start doing. It says movements of main sub-Saharan ancestry components in the Green Sahara 8,000 to 7,000 years before present in a possible scenario for the formation of Green Saharan populations. The ancestry components are the same in the admixture with modern and ancient individuals for the same populations. Faded arrows represent possible movements across the Green Sahara. Again, this is long before the formation of anything dealing with dynastic Egypt. This is 8,000, 7,000 BP when we start seeing pastoralism in the Sahel and the Sahara. And we see these components come into Africa. All right. So it says these Saharan people may have actually been the ancestors of the present-day Sahelian people, including Fulani. This is also supported by our admixture analysis, showing that also the Neolithic pastoralists from Kenya and the modern Central Sahelian group showed the orange and azure components at non-negligible proportions. Moreover, the absence of the blue component in the modern Nilo-Saharan groups from both Central and Eastern Sahara further confirms this hypothesis, since it has been proposed that Nilo-Saharan languages were more widespread in the Green Sahara than the last human during their last human phase to be replaced by Afro-Asiatic languages only in more recent times, about 1,500 years ago. So you guys can read this, man. Again, this is the entire paper here. We read this before. The echoes from the last Green Sahara, whole genome analysis of the Fulani and key population to unveil genetic evolutionary history of Africa by our girl, Diatanasio. And I'll just put the paper in the chat. Anybody can have it. You got me up this morning going in. I'm going to give y'all that paper. So from there, we already an hour in, right? We already an hour in and we already about to win. So let me go to this paper here. This paper is entitled The History of Male Migration in and out of Africa, in and out of Green Sahara, excuse me. And within this paper, the summation says the Sahara was once fertile. A recent study identifies human Y chromosome lineages that flourish in this Green Sahara and their relation to present-day populations. Modern humans originated in Africa at least 300,000 years ago. The migration out of Africa 60,000 years ago was central to human history, but the subsequent migrations and demographic events within Africa, stimulated by climate changes, developments in technology, and other historical factors, remain underappreciated and understudied. A recent study focused on the consequence of climatic changes in the Saharan region over the past 12,000 years fills one of the gaps in our knowledge of human migration. Y chromosomal lineages of the Green Sahara. So it talks about the transformation of the Sahara within the last 12,000 years. But what do we see here? Diatanasio et al. Hypothesized that because the Sahara has been such a strong barrier to human migration for the past 5,000 years, haplogroups that are found in the current populations both to the north and to the south of the Sahara must have spread during the green phase. Previous works have identified 4 such haplogroups, A3M13. We're going to type this into Globe Tracker here. I know it's going to make me sign back in. So if we go to Globe Tracker, right? We go to our handy dandy Globe Tracker, and we type in M13. All right, you can see Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Ethiopia. And we're going to click Globe Tracker. Where do we see this at? Ultimately forming where 10,000 BC, about 12,000 years ago, in Southeast Africa, right here in Tanzania and Uganda. And it makes its way over here into Western Africa. It makes its way to the north. It makes its way to Europe. Right? We type in ancient connections. See if I can get it. Go 2,000 years ago. You see that? It's in Pompeii, 50 BC to 400 CE. It's in Pompeii. So this haplogroup, in the words of Tupac, it got around, man. These people got around. We diverse, bro. It's over. That racial pure shit is over with. That 18th, 19th century Blumenbach shit, Linehan shit, that shit's over with. Linnaeus shit, that shit is over. You goofy motherfuckers keep invoking them, but the evidence is against them. That shit's been dead. All right, so the next one, of course, is EM2. EM2, we type in EM2 in Globe Tracker. This is my ancestral group that I belong to. All right, it's all over Africa. It's in Europe. It's in Saudi Arabia. It's in the Middle East. All right. So what's the other group? EM78. E1B1B, which a lot of you guys will call it, oh, they're invaders. No, the E1B1B have been there. They've been in North Africa forever, man. As you can see, EM215, which is father of all E1B1B groups, always been up in this region, Northeast Africa. Well, y'all got the audacity to call people like the Berbers, the Amazi, invaders because of how they look. And they've been there for a long ass time. You know what we gotta say to you? Shut your goofy ass up, man. You some goofy ass motherfuckers. These would people be representative of the Green Saharan period. They're in Chad, Niger, Mali, Senegal, Gambia, Cameroon, EM78, and of course, all throughout Europe. These are Africans that migrated into Europe, into the Balkans, into Greece, thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. Of course, they're in Egypt. Of course, they're in the Sinai Peninsula. They're in Palestine. They're in Near East. They're in North Africa. They're in Morocco. We see them with the Ibero-Maurusian population. That was 15,000 years ago in North Africa. Y'all got the audacity to call these people modern invaders or Turks or some shit. The fuck wrong with you niggas, man? Goofy motherfuckers. Oh, I'm not even showing it. I didn't even tell me I wasn't showing it. There it is. EM35 right there. E1B1B, EM78. Right? As a bonus, I'm going to show E1A or M132. Let me try that. M132. Look at the M132. Forming in Libya. It's in North Africa. It's in Nigeria. It's all over Western Africa. South Africa. It's all over Europe. Y'all done for, man. Y'all fucking done for. You racial purists, you fucking Afrocentrics, and your bullshit, you're finished. You're done. We understand genetics now. We understand population movements, demography, migration, population history. We understand that populations are a medley, that populations are not made of a single component, but a multitude of components. We understand that now. All right, back to the paper. The paper also mentions RV88. So when we type RV88, where do these people come from? Many of the Chadic speakers, many of the Hausa are of this clade. Where do they ultimately derive their ancestry from? 16,000 years ago? The Balkans. They come from the Balkans, man. They're Europeans. And again, why do we call them Europeans? Because their haplogroup formed in the continent of Europe. Their main haplogroup, that's all that's saying. There is no spookism there. Again, European ancestry is not a dirty word or a dirty association. Only reason you think like that because you're fucking racist. That's the only reason you think like that. RV88 carriers, the Chadic speakers, the Hausa, many of them, their ancestry ultimately derives from Europeans, which makes a lot of sense because this population would have developed farming. They would have had farming in early European farming population. So if they came down, they would already know how to cultivate certain cereals and several grains. All right. And we see this population all through Northeast Africa, West Africa, Nigeria, Cameroon, North Africa, East Africa, Sudan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia. So again, the Green Saharans would have been diverse. Ancient Egyptians would have been diverse. Populations are diverse, man. Get the fuck over it. Anyway. Let me go to the other paper now. Well, no. Matter of fact, let's stay here. Y'all see these purple arrows? You see that blue arrow? That's saying that the RV88, EM78, this migration came from the north. I already showed you RV88 came from Europe. EM2, EM13 came from the southern regions. They all migrated during the Green Saharan period to these savannas And they consisted of, in this population that contained all of these haplogroups, all of these male groups, all of them. You know what we call that? Diversity. Diversity, motherfucker. That's what that's called. Something y'all need to fucking learn, have it ingrained in your brain. All right, so the next paper is The Peopling of the Last Green Sahara. We read this 1,000 times by Diatanasio that we just referenced. But as you can see, all of the populations all over the continent of Africa. It's a fucking wrap, man. It's a wrap. If we go down to the segments that talk about RV88, the presence of the two-nested RV88 basal European clades can be related to the high frequency of RV88 internal lineages in the Central Sahel, assuming a movement from Europe towards the Central Sahel across northern Africa. That's why I love bringing up RV80, because it blows up in the face of you racists. It destroys your whole fucking argument. You idiots. Holding on to old, antiquated ideas and beliefs. Let me read that again, man. This is like music to my ears here. The presence of two-nested RV88 basal. What does basal mean? First, at the base, at the beginning. European clades, meaning the pappy, the forefather lineage was found in Europe. Forefather to what? The RV88 lineages we see in the Central Sahel, the RV88 lineages we see in Nigeria, the RV88 lineages we see within the Hausa, within the Chadic speakers. Their dads, their parent, their forefathers, their patriarch ultimately comes from Europe. The presence of two-nested RV88 basal European clades can be related to the high frequencies of RV88 internal lineages in the Central Sahel, assuming a movement from Europe toward the Central Sahel across northern Africa. You're done. You're finished, man. You're cooked. Now I'm gonna go back to Globe Trekker and just do this real quick, because the oldest, let's see, is it K or H? What haplogroup is it? Turn on ancient connections. It might be H. Let me try H. Let me go to ancient connections. Soviet. The oldest confirmed haplogroup that we have, and this one I'm trying to find right quick, is Eurasian. The oldest confirmed haplogroup in ancient Egypt is Eurasian. And I can't remember the damn haplogroup, but I will here in a minute. Because I believe it's in this paper here with the mummies. Yep, Pharaoh Nok Unk. Let me type in this haplogroup real quick. Just to show you that, I'm gonna end it on that, man. The tomb of the two brothers. Yeah, haplogroup HL901. L901. Let's see if that pop up. Well, I can't get it to pop up here. But that's the oldest oldest haplogroup that we have in ancient Egypt. There's older ones there, but it's early reporting of haplogroup R. As you can see here, Nok Numnok belong to haplogroup HL901 in the paternal line, and to the haplogroup N in the maternal line, M in the maternal line, right? We go to this paper here, the paleogenomic-based kinship analysis of ancient Egyptian human remains by Yahya Gad, says the genomic analysis could resolve a long-standing question regarding the kinship of two high-status Egyptians from the 12th dynasty. This is what, look at that, 1985 to 1773 BCE, almost 4,000 years ago, known as the brothers' mummies, Nok Ankh and Numnok. The two mummies shared the same tomb, and inscriptions on their coffins stated that they had the same mother named Num. However, when unwrapped, they were different morphologically from each other. Using hybridization, captured the mitochondrial Y chromosome fractions followed by NGS. The results revealed that both mummies were assigned to the same mtDNA haplogroup, N1A1, indicating a maternal relationship. On the other hand, incomplete profiles of YSTRs were obtained but show variation between the two mummies, suggesting that they belong to different fathers and may likely be half brothers. Oldest haplogroup. What haplogroup they have, or one of them had, HL901. That's completely Eurasian. That's the oldest official haplogroup that we have of ancient Egyptians. Now, they got pre-dynastic and dynastic samples that are supposedly R1b, which is going to hurt you motherfuckers' feelings. Guess what? Your feelings need to be fucking hurt. Need to be hurt. Okay, hold on. Let me show you another early green Saharan ancestral clade here. What is it? Mitochondrial N, another Eurasian clade. Ancestral mitochondrial N from the Neolithic Green Sahara. Stefania Vi et al. March 2019. Y'all niggas is done, bro. Y'all niggas is done. Because Africa climate hampers DNA preservation, knowledge of its genetic variability is mainly restricted to modern samples, even though population genetics, dynamics, and back migration for Eurasia may have modified haplotype frequencies, masking ancient genetic scenarios. Thanks to improved methodologies, ancient genetic data for the African continent are now increasingly available, starting to fill in the gap. Here we present newly attained mitochondrial genomes from two approximately 7,000-year-old individuals from Tokori rock shelter, Libya, representing the earliest and first genetic data for the Sahara region. These individuals carry a novel mutation motif linked to the haplogroup N root. Our results demonstrate that the presence of an ancestral lineage of the N haplogroup in the Holocene Green Sahara associated to a middle pastoral Neolithic context. So we have this Eurasian woman here, found buried. They did her DNA. Y'all can't hide no more, man. It's over with. It's over with, man. Y'all done. Look. So there's two scenarios. You can have N develop in Africa, but most likely develop outside, which is B. Came in between the Green Saharan period, and that's why we see that woman there. There's Eurasian variation here. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And also, what did this woman look like? Let me type in contest. It's worth noting, however, that when geometric morphometrics analysis of the skull of TKRS-H1 is compared with a large published data set, it shows closer affinities with sub-Saharan contests. So she most likely looked like other sub-Saharans. That's why you can't just go off looks. How someone fucking looks. You can't go off of that. Because again, she would look like that, but ultimately her ancestry derives from Eurasians. Which puts a silver bullet in you werewolves' heads, now doesn't it? That really got you guys in a fucking frenzy, right? Got you in a goddamn trick bag, man. Y'all put yourself in because y'all choose to use race as a biological identifier. Oh, they're black, they're the same. No, that's not how shit works, man. You goofy ass motherfucker. That's why we gotta keep reminding you it's a social construct, because you keep trying to use it as a biological one, and it's fucking not. That's the issue. As y'all can see here, this is family tree DNA, where they have haplogroup E in it. There you go. Thoroughly Eurasian. See M, which that early, the Knock brothers had M. Their mother was haplogroup M. These were Eurasians mixed with other African groups. What's wrong with that? The R0HV and HV, we see that in ancient Egypt. That's European. What's wrong with it? There's nothing wrong with it. Y'all just upset because none of the data collected, none of the ancient DNA, the genomes of ancient Africans comport to your idea of fucking race and continental identities. And that's the motherfucking deal, man. Straighten up, niggas. Fucking straighten up. I'm out.
I'm about my fetty by all. Look here, I be on a paper chase. I'm all about my cheddar. I ain't touching the mic if it ain't 5Gs or better. I plan to never fall short. Again, I won't gain. Woody, I'ma tell you, no pain, no gain. I hustle hard for what I want, that's how I get it. I struggle hard, and if it's out there, I'm going get it. If you see Ciamara, a dollar sign on the CD, somewhere on there you'll see featuring the BG. Me and my nigga V, like Suge and Pop, we getting our shine on all the way to the top. Look, ain't no stopping us, boy, don't try. When you hear once, it ain't no secret you going by. You could lie about this, stunt about that. You can't die these 50 shots, I'm about the red tat-tat. Ain't nothing changed, still a bust a wig splitter. Straight hustler for my cheese, I'm a money go get about my paper, my cheese. So before my eyes close, I want my greens to add up to 6 zeros. Get your betty nigga, somebody play a hate split 'em. Get your betty nigga, somebody play a hate kill 'em. I'm about my paper, my cheese. So before my eyes close, I want my greens to add up to 6 zeros. Get your betty nigga, somebody play a hate split 'em. Get your betty nigga, somebody play a hate kill 'em. It's all about Benjamin, that's all I wanna have. Ducked off in my house with a hoe taking a bubble bath. Sparkling marble, covering all my room floors. A maid in a bathing suit doing my house chores. Do not disturb sign on my bedroom door, cause my dick getting ate by my #1 whore. Look, I'm money hungry, about acting a donkey. No longer a junkie, I got rid of that monkey. I'm cheeky, I don't want you fucking with my shit. My neck and my knuckles covered with crushed out shit. Sparkling gold cover my motherfucking grill. Pockets filled with big head $100 bills. Fucking up this rap game with these wicked rap skills. And ain't far from making G's to making meals. I'm a trill BG, uptown hard hitter. On the real, my nigga, I'm a money go getter. About my paper, my cheese. So before my eyes close, I want my greens to add up to 6 zeros. Get your betty nigga, somebody play a hate split 'em. Get your betty nigga, somebody play a hate kill 'em. About my paper, my cheese. So before my eyes close, I want my greens to add up to 6 zeros. Get your betty nigga, somebody play a hate split 'em. And get your betty nigga, somebody try to stop you, kill 'em. Oh, I gotta get it, gotta grab it, gotta have it. Like snorting dope or snorting coke, it's a habit. I gotta see it, gotta feel it, quick to spin it. Shoot dice all day with my niggas trying to win it. I rap hustle, cause I'm a hustling ass nigga. Also a get told about busting some ass nigga. So you come play with me, about my cheese, you gotta go fool. In a casket 6 feet deep, selling tapes and CDs like selling pick 3s. Rang up 1 million sales, we didn't hit the lottery. I'm a Benjamin chaser, player hater eraser. Police have no case cause I do murders without a trace. I'm almost at home, I didn't pass last third base. I'm playing with 5 figures, but when I get 6, I'm straight. If I catch your bitch down bad, I'ma hit her. Paper chasing nigga, BG a money go get about my paper, my cheese. So before my eyes close, I want my green to add up to 6 zeros. Get your fatty nigga, somebody clear hate split 'em. Get your fatty nigga, somebody try to stop you, kill 'em. I'm about my paper, my cheese. So before my eyes close, I want my green to add up to 6 zeros. Get your fatty nigga, somebody clear hate split 'em. Get your fatty nigga, somebody try to stop you, kill 'em. I'm about my fatty nigga, I'm about my fatty, by all means necessary. I'm about my fatty nigga, I'm about my fatty, by all means necessary. All about the Benjamin, it's all about the green, the motherfucking loot. BG, I get mine on, I get my grind on, I get my shine on, you get yours on. I'm